Hey, good morning. I'm Michael Fisher, the doctor fearologist. Wanted to just share a little bit about the climate crisis. Oh yeah, the strike was on yesterday, another Friday, freedom fighters, climate change, Greta Thunberg, etc. And so I thought, well, what, I could go downtown and I could join the domestics walking and being very polite and organized and surveyed by the police and so on. And I thought, well, I'd rather do what I like to do as an activist. I was an activist when I was 14. Won't go into that story other than, I played in a band, rock band, and we played songs of revolution. And had my first set of drums and painted a big symbol on the front of the bass drum. It was love and fear. Oh no, it wasn't love and fear. It was the name of the band was Love and Hate, 1964. And you might see that my book collection of research here is on fear, which really hate is another form of fear, just in a certain configuration, as you can imagine. Not the most useful configuration, because what do you do with hate, right? Oh, you just feed it love or whatever. Well, you could, but good luck. Uh, Hate will be understood when fear is understood, and that's kind of my path of fearlessness teachings. Oh, so back to the story of the bass drum, the love and hate. I grew long hair with my buddies, and by the time we were in grade 7 at the time, we got kicked out of the school for having long hair, which meant it kind of went over the tops of your ears, just a tad. And yeah, 3 days suspension. Of course, our parents were totally pissed. Of course, we were even more pissed. And we began to realize that we were part of a revolution. We were part of activists before we even knew what the word activist even meant. I was not very politically savvy at the time because no one in my family or the people I hang around with really knew anything about the politics of the green movement, of eco movements. It was all just beginning. And for me, I never studied any of that. And I was totally ignorant working class person. Excuse me, but I was. And that doesn't mean that I really didn't know that there was something to resist. And that's what I was really all about, was resisting. So to this day, I study fear for that very reason, because I think it is at the core of why we need to resist in this society. So anyway, I had this idea. I'm sort of trying to tune into Greta Thunberg. She's 15, 16 years old now, the poster child for the uh, Extinction Rebellion movement and the eco movements and the anti, global warming movements, in the sense that she's anti global warming. She's not anti against global warming activists. She is the darling, really the internet darling, and now is inspiring and, many argue, terrifying children about the end of the world. These are serious allegations, and I am studying them right now seriously. I know it's hard to see that I might be doing that seriously, but I am, and we'll be doing lots of writing, and I have a book underway, no doubt, about the Greta Effect, as some media people are calling it, and the controversies of, is this fear mongering? Is it creating excessive anxiety, fear, terror, hatred, opposition, binary dichotomies, and dualisms, and dividing our society into a horrible mess, which it already is in a horrible mess, and it was when I was 14. And that's why I joined the rebellion. So I'm a very untypical activist, because yesterday I could have joined the march and walked along with everybody holding signs made with my black markers or colored markers if I wanted to. And really, I chose not to do any of that, because I've done enough marching protests in my life to find out I really do not like them. I do not like the group mindset. And I'm kind of one of those creative artist types, right, that has to be on my bike and doing my own thing. And researching and doing my own thing. I'm the only fearologist in the world that's really doing this on a big way and has dedicated 30 years to the research on fear and fearlessness. Well, besides all that, why I didn't go, I had this fantasy this morning laying in bed. Well, you know, would have much better if I would have just got on my bike. I went to the art studio and did art. If I would have just got on my bike and rode up one of the steepest hills, which is not far away from here in the city and a very busy road, and just gone up. Here's the fantasy. I would just, this is my climate challenge to the world, just to go up and ride in a fairly high gear and have to stand up on my bike. And even if I've had open heart surgery, I would still do this and I would still survive. I know I would. And I would just will it to get to the top, slowly going up and blocking all the traffic all the way up the hill as I go my 2 to 3 miles an hour up the hill. And I would have just loved to see the traffic and all the horns and people trying to pass me. And well, that would have been a really good representation of and a semiotics of the meaning of what climate activism and a strike ought to be. Not just not going to my job or not going to school. Okay, that's cool in a certain way too, but it's not all that disruptive. And gluing your hands to a building downtown in a, well, that seems very semiotically linked to all kinds of meanings that I find very unemancipatory. Anyway, I would go and just ride in my freedom. Could be 5,000 bikes behind me or with me or ahead of me. That would have been really a great move, because we are basically saying that those roadways, the great violence of our society, which I've always thought since I was 14, cars, roads, automobiles, the whole infrastructure of oil and gas, carbon, high carbon using industries world that has destroyed much of the planet and still is. The bicycle to me is definitely taking over the road again as a citizen, a great citizen, or as a participant in a democracy. That, to me, is what needs to be done to slow down the traffic and show the alternative, right? Not just stop the traffic and jam the road. No, actually show the alternative, which is a great workout. Here's this dude, 67 years old, going up the hill, and he's working and he's going slow, but he is living a quality life that is less violent on the world. Because speed, which those roads keep everybody going faster and faster, just like the internet does, and social media, faster, is not the way to go. Sorry. Doing your iPhone and so on. So then I was going up my fantasy was I'm going up the hill real slow and blocking traffic. And every time I go down on the left pedal, right, pushing on the left pedal, this is what I was thinking of in my fantasy. I'd think of all the things I like about the left, the political left, the eco-political green left, etc., which I also have been involved in since I was 15, 16, like Greta. No poster child, no. I don't have all the right accoutrements for that. But on that left pedal, I would just think about all the things that I think I really like about the left, and all the things. As I move to the right pedal, things that I like about the right. Oh yeah, no, the right is not evil, by the way, just necessarily. No, it's part of a liberal, conservative, radical to liberal, traditional, integral. We need both. Why we need both is because they exist. and we need to deal with them as a whole cycling movement. So you see the symbolic semiotics of rebellion on the bicycle, up the hill under my own power. No, not one of these solar electric bikes, not the ones that are manufactured by these companies with their logos and so on. No, just me, simple old bike, rusty, dirty, never washes it, up the hill. And then on the next round, I would think, okay, let's come back to the left. All the things I don't like about the left, and then I'm critical and have been critical about since I was probably 15, because I see the one-sided and stuff. And then all the things when I get on the right pedal, the right that I don't like about, and its extremism, and its intolerance. And the left, its intolerance and extreme. And Extinction Rebellion, I love it. I don't like what it does in so many ways, and the right's response to Extinction Rebellion, which I like and I don't like in so many ways. And oh, I suppose to say, excuse me. 9/11 fear wars, American fear. This is getting a little heavy at my age of, I thought the world was really going to change. I mean, really going to change when 9/11 hit. I was with my daughters at that time. They were, 16, 18, and they said, "Dad, come here, look at this." And, I was researching on my dissertation at that time on fearless leadership in and out of the fear matrix. Title of my dissertation, 2003. UBC. Anyways, that I went and saw that, what was going on TV, and I was going click, 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 click. I was already studying the culture of fear. I was studying this whole phenomenon, and I started very quickly to realize that, I need to start collecting how people are responding, how they're talking, how they're thinking. And then I was going to write this great, massive synthesis and understanding and critical review of the left and the right and how they're responding to 9/11 and the truthers and the people who believed what the actual story was about 9/11 that the government was spinning, and then the truthers, etc., who don't believe it and have good reasons to believe different story narrative. I wrote a few things, but never did much with that. But what I'm pointing to, excuse me again, what I'm pointing to is that the research is really important, what I do as an educator, as a fearologist. And 9/11, I thought, was going to change the world. We had the opportunity, the greatest opportunity I could ever see for, as a world and certainly in North American culture, certainly in America, that, maybe the way we're going is not the right way. And I see fear accumulation as the equivalent analogy of carbon dioxide accumulation due to civilization, where fear is heating up the planet, carbon dioxide is heating up. That's the analogy, and I'm still writing on that. Not too many people think I'm very serious about that, but someday maybe a really good book or article will hit and go viral. Well, then after that, and I saw that the revolution wasn't really going to happen, and the whole re-emancipation, liberation. I've seen this many times since I was 14. And then I found this. Oh, yeah, the Matrix film, the Wachowski brothers. Maybe ripped off that story, or maybe they didn't. Anyways, I studied that film, and that became part of my dissertation in 2003. So from 2001 to 2003, I saw this massive film. It was going to be this amazing teaching. It was such a high level consciousness, that film. And I could go on and on. That's a whole other film to make on my video channel. But this is one of many, many boxes on the research I did on the Matrix. And I am serious. That is the revolution fearing. Oh, there's my lighting. And my studio just kind of went down all stupid. Okay. Maybe that'll last for a few minutes more. And as I close this video, is that I thought the Matrix was going to be the great meta-narrative of the new meta-mythic transformation that we all needed. It was universal. It was a story of how we're embedded in fear and have been in history, and the machine world is part of that. And well, you kind of want to see that film. 1999 to 2003, the trilogy, The Matrix. Well, all of those, again, I wrote and shared and tried to get attention on that in academia and other places in populist culture. And the short story is that, well, neither of those led to the revolution that I thought. And then we come along and we have things like Extinction Rebellion movements and many other organizing movements on climate change and global warming, and maybe Greta Thunberg and others will be the new movement of this liberation, and may not be. And I am just doing this video to share sincerely that I appreciate all the work everybody is doing on that climate change. And I want to remind you of left and right and other that there is no one right way. And that's my humble opinion, and my professional opinion, and my scholarly opinion all at once. So enough from this smart ass. I got to get back out riding before the sun gets up, and see if I can go block some highways. Hope there's a message here that's valuable too, and beyond hope, really, I just suggest let's follow the path of fearlessness, and let's do our research on fear properly, the way it was meant to be done.